FM and AM 1460 WMBA, as well as streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Rush Hour is just getting started on Beaver County Radio. It's time for Driving in the Fastlane with Frank Sparks. It's the show that talks about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There will be guests, and Noah Haswell will have the news at the top and bottom of each hour. And now, here is the host of the show, Frank Sparks.
Good morning. It is a rainy Tuesday morning, but it's also one of our favorite days of the month because our friend Brandon Antinopoulos from Ford RX is making his appearance. And we'll have Brandon here in the 10 o'clock hour. Then 11 o'clock, we're going to be joined by a good friend, Steve Higgins. He's from the Larry Bruno Foundation. We'll be talking about the Circle of Achievement inductees this year. What a great list that there's going to be of Beaver Falls athletes. Names that you know, I guarantee you. Plus, they're also going to have a special commendation for Bob Middleman. Years and years, he owned Enlo's Shoes in Beaver Falls. So we'll talk with him in the 11 o'clock hour. But in the meantime, let's get hour number one started with Brandon Antinopoulos. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey, good morning.
How are you today?
I'm feeling good.
All right, so we've got a couple guests that are joining us on the phone this morning. You want to fill us in a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we had have a special announcement.
Okay.
That we wanted to make for the pharmacy. So for Ford RX, we're coming up close to 3 years in business now, and have been growing. And if anyone's been down to our, shop in New Brighton, seen it, anytime someone comes to visit, I always say, welcome to my little slice of cost plus pharmacy heaven. But as we've continued to grow, we've begun to outgrow our space. And I kind of knew that this eventually was going to happen at some point. So we are going to, announce today on Beaver County Radio, we are going to be moving into a new space, actually. So we're pretty excited about that. And it's kind of a wild story because even wasn't something that we were necessarily looking to do. Okay. But the universe kind of led us down this path outside of our immediate control to lead us to this decision to move. So okay.
That's a good thing because that means the business is growing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So, we continue to grow, especially in a time where many pharmacies are closing, including a lot of the chain pharmacies, as we've seen. So the growth is good. Clearly, there's a need for a pharmacy like ours. And my hope is that, again, as time goes on, more and more pharmacies will either open up or start to kind of do the things that we do with, cost plus pricing and eliminate the insurance middlemen where needed. So join today because we are going to be relocating. The address is 998 3rd Street in Beaver. Okay. So it's the old Premier Bank. It used to be. That's on the corner of 3rd Street and Draveau. And we're joined here by Chris Morgan and Danny Massaro, the ones that were actually able to get this building at auction. And it's a funny story how this whole thing came to be, and I think a unique story. So I invited them here today as we kind of unveil that we are going to be relocating. Don't have a set date yet, but we are working on it. But certainly sometime early this fall, could be as early as middle of next month whenever we make the move.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So how did you get hooked up with them? We can't say the first name, so we can just, the beginning thing at the beginning. So we got to call him Chris. Yeah. So how'd you get hooked up with Chris and Danny?
Yeah. So Chris and I have known each other since we were kids. So we went to New Brighton High School together, grew up in the same neighborhood. He's also in the medical field as well, and been a big supporter of our pharmacy as we've grown, and someone who's a resident in Beaver now. And it was I was actually looking on Facebook, and it popped up on my feed some bank locations that were up for auction, but in Cranberry in the North Hills area.
Okay.
So I sent it to a group of other independent pharmacy owners that I know and said, hey, if anyone's looking to open a pharmacy up in the North Hills area, here's some great locations. And then probably because I clicked on those and shared it, and Facebook knows every single aspect of our life. The next day, across the Facebook feed was the listing of that former bank location in Beaver going up for auction. And so, knowing Chris and the resident of Beaver, shared it with him. I said, hey, if you know anyone that buys this building, this would make for a great pharmacy. And almost immediately he called me and shared that, he's driven past that and kind of recognizes that it would be a great pharmacy, and how the town has been without any pharmacy now since since the Rite Aid closed.
Okay.
And so, we had a conversation and said, like, hey, if there's an opportunity that we get this, is this something you would consider? And again, just looking at, where we were at with outgrowing our space, our space that we have, and I love New Brighton, grew up there. But it works out when we have one person at a time coming up to pick up their medications. Now that we have multiple people showing to pick up their medications, it gets kind of tight and awkward. And so this place just is amazing space with the drive-through. Everyone loves the drive-through in the pharmacy. It'll have that, and then it also has some room for some future growth for us too.
Okay.
And so Chris and Danny, you guys can take it from here. How the auction and acquisition went to kind of make this possible, since you guys are a big part of what's going to be bringing the pharmacy back into the town of Beaver.
All right, let's start with Chris. Chris, you want to tell us about how that happened?
Yeah, I'll add that Brandon kind of downplays it. We grew up in a smaller neighborhood where we were literally across the street from each other, and saw each other every day. So it was one of the best growing up experiences that we could have ever asked for, just from that standpoint. But I'll say that Dan and I have talked over a couple of years. We've known each other, maybe not as long as Brandon and I, but for a long time now. And as the crow flies, we can basically hit a couple tee shots to each other's houses. And we've discussed, like, could we do something outside of what we do day to day to just to do something different. And so when we started looking at these places, we had no intention at all, even when Brandon initially texted me, no intention at all of actually considering buying a bank, which has become the joke. So it just kind of fell into place, and within a very short amount of time, we found ourselves bidding on a bank and won, and learned a lot in the process of how to acquire this and what to do inside of it, both mechanically and how to prep it for Brandon to move in there at some point. It's been an adventure, I'll say that. And Danny, I don't know if you want to add to that or not.
Yeah, it was a fun process, but from my viewpoint, when Chris volunteered the information that a friend of his was interested in potentially moving a pharmacy into this bank, he just said, should we do it? And I said, tell me about your friend. And he spoke of Brandon so highly, that he's hardworking, man of integrity, all that stuff. And I'm like, it's a good building in a good area with a potential good tenant. I went and met Brandon, saw his business, and when I came back to Chris, I said, why not? Because anytime in business or in life, I ask myself two questions all the time. What's the worst that can happen, and what could it lead to? And what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, things might go a little bit sideways in buying a building sight unseen on an auction, but luckily Beaver's a good area, so, I don't think that the worst thing could happen is too bad. But what could it lead to? There was a genuine need in this area. I'm also a Beaver resident. There's a genuine need for a pharmacy. So it just seemed like the perfect storm of things, where it's like, if we can be a part of this in any way, why not? So that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, and this also went against everything that our parents have ever taught us too. We
right.
Within 30 hours, bid on a building that we have driven past looked in the windows, had not gone inside, and had very little other information on. So it could have gone very sideways for our parents.
Yeah, that's one last thing, Frank. This all happened. Brandon, what did this happen in 36 hours?
That's what I was going to say. Wait, you guys are talking
quick.
a period of time here. I'm like, wait a minute, this is quick.
This happened in a matter of a weekend. From the initial text, hey, let's figure out how to get this and make this happen. Very very quick, a lot of trust. But again, it feels like the right thing. And this building in and of itself, it's got pharmacy written all over it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So why a bank for a pharmacy? I mean, is there advantages to it being an old bank?
Yeah, so it just seems that banks make for good pharmacies.
Okay.
And looking at the industry and even talking to the company that's doing the install for the fixtures and for the layout, they all they do is pharmacies and like gas station quick stops. And they said that any more whenever they go in, they put pharmacies into old banks. It's a very simple process for them. I think also just because of the drive-through, many of the banks have the drive-throughs, and with the convenience of drive-through, full disclosure, I have never worked a pharmacy drive-through in my life.
You're about to.
So, but I know anytime we've talked to people about it, that's one of the things that they're excited about in the convenience of it too. But just the space, and then also meeting another need is for compounding pharmacy services. So this is something in my family's pharmacy we used to do. Compounding is the process of which pharmacies and pharmacists would make customized medications. So things that you need, not commercially available. Maybe the ingredient is, but for some other reason, your body just doesn't respond well to what's commercially on the market. So it's like getting back to the old fashioned, you think of the pharmacist behind the counter mixing and crushing things together with a mortar and pestle. Mortar and pestle. If any of my professors or listeners, they're going to be mad.
In trouble.
Yeah. And a lot of regulatory and compliance changes have happened since then that have made it hard for pharmacies to be able to do that. That's why no pharmacies, at least that I'm aware of, in our area that do it. Even when we have people that call and ask us for it, we usually refer out to a pharmacy in Moon Township or in Pittsburgh. This space now has the capacity that after we're in there, we're going to be able to grow and to start to provide compounding services as well.
Okay.
There's space for a little kids waiting room, little kids corner, we're going to call it. It's going to be all decked out just if someone is coming in to pick up stuff. Kids can kind of hang out and have some fun, color some pictures in there while they wait. We'll pride ourselves in making sure that parents don't have to wait too long to get the prescription, but at least they'll have something for the family to do. And then some other, services that we're going to be able to offer, like some other pharmacies are doing, or some other pharmacies aren't quite doing yet. So yeah, it just seems like the footprint of the bank is also makes for a good footprint for an independent pharmacy.
So, Danny and Chris, is this the first building you guys have together?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like Chris said, it's been an interesting process, but a fun one. Our families are very, very close, so we've made it fun. We both have 3 kids. We both have 3 daughters. So the 6 girls going in there, and at first they were a little bit. They didn't love Brandon at first because they said, "Wait a minute, Brandon's moving into our bank." I'm like, "Well, girls, we need Brandon to move into our bank." So. But yeah, it's the first one we bought together, and it's been a fun process. And like Chris said right away, we've learned quite a bit.
He probably suckered him in. Did you bring some dumplings with you to give to them?
No, I didn't have the dumplings at the time. No,
So, hey, we're going to give you guys some dumplings. Okay, you can rent it now. My kid, at least. So.
That's the first I'm hearing of dumplings.
Oh, don't mention it to your kids, then. I assure you. So, all right. So, Chris, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
I am a local cardiologist.
Okay.
I take pride in, what we do for services for our community, which was, again, why this was a no-brainer, trying to keep things local. And I think that with the addition of Allegheny Health Network moving in and acquiring Heritage Valley, I think we're going to see a lot of important and needed changes around our area in terms of what we can deliver healthcare-wise and the services we can provide. And hopefully this just adds another piece of the puzzle, adding, like we said, a pharmacy in a town where people have always wanted to stay within the town to do things. This will be a huge asset to Beaver to have a pharmacy back in there again, and honestly, a nice pharmacy with good people running it, and kind of one of those things where you can walk in and the pharmacist is going to recognize you, and you're going to know the pharmacist, and kind of like what we all had, well, at least what I remember growing up. So we're excited for that.
Absolutely. Danny, what about you? What do you do on a daily basis normally?
My wife and I own and run a fuel distribution company. So in short, we provide diesel fuel to construction companies and trucking companies, and we provide gas to gas stations.
So how did you and Chris get hooked up then? Two different businesses.
Yeah, Chris, do you want to take it? Or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can. I mean, Danny and I grew up going to the same church camp in the summers. He actually grew up in Newcastle. And I, like I said, grew up with Brandon down in good old Falston, Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
So I got to know Danny just as a kid. Honestly, we were both kids initially, and then I kind of, was a little bit older, so I became a leader at camp and got to know him through that. And then we've really just kind of peripherally stayed in contact through the years, and then our wives kind of, were in contact in a former life as well. So when we all were kind of, going towards the Beaver area, it kind of naturally just clicked. And like Danny said, we both have 3 daughters, and they all get along very well and like to hang, so that's made us hang out very easy as well.
That's awesome. All right, we are visiting this morning with Brandon Antinopoulos. It is a monthly visit from Forward RX. And also on the phone this morning is Chris Morgan and Danny Massero. We're going to take a very short break, and Curtis will be in here in a minute to do news on Beaver County Radio.
You're busy, no time to cook. You're hungry and the kids are too. Don't stress. Make it a McDonald's dinner tonight. Download the app and get McDelivery right to your door. Whatever you're hungry for, McDonald's has it. You'll be happy and the kids will be too. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Are you looking for the best quality complying with the highest industry standards in commercial painting and industrial painting services? It's right in the name, as A1 Best Quality Painting in Canonsburg can help you with services including industrial and commercial buildings, and all of their work is guaranteed. Call 724-797-3350 for more information. That's A1 Best Quality Painting, 120 Brandywine Drive, Canonsburg.
This isn't just our anniversary, it's a celebration of you, our customers, who've made our 87 years possible. Join us for our Customer Appreciation Anniversary Sale with special Spin to Win giveaways. You'll find incredible savings on beautiful furniture, top quality appliances, sensational mattresses, and handcrafted Amish-built furniture. Through changing generations in our community, one thing has remained: the trust of our customers with our commitment to serving them with integrity. 87 years strong and savings even stronger. The Customer Appreciation Anniversary Sale only at AK Nahas Appliance, Furniture, and Mattress. You'll do okay with AK. Beaver County Radio and Moon Township Ford are teaming up for the 4th annual Cruisin' the Ridge Car Cruises. This year's car cruises are presented by AK Nahas Appliance, Furniture, Mattress, and TV, and Dan Hoffman State Farm Insurance. Join us Saturday, August 15th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the 3rd cruise of the year. The cruise is being held at the Beaver County Radio Studios at 4301 Dutch Ridge Road in Brighton Township. Solid Gold Saturday host J.D. Merkel will be spinning tunes in the parking lot. There will be food trucks, a 50-50, and a chance auction. The cruises are rain or shine, and the first 100 receive a dash plaque. Collect all 5 for a chance at a special prize at the end of the year. Cruisin' on the Ridge is also being sponsored by Tri-County McDonald's, Patriot Home Care, Monroe Auto Body, Nova Care, J. Young Refuse, NAMI Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
Luann's Route 68 Food and Spirits and Industry is the place for wing specials on Thursdays, fish, homemade crab cakes, and crab stuffed mushrooms on Fridays, as well as karaoke night. Luann's Route 68 Food and Spirits is known for their famous steak salads and has happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Find Luann's Route 68 Food and Spirits on Facebook for daily specials and live music. Luann's Route 68 Food and Spirits and Industry is veteran-owned and looks forward to serving you today.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning on this Tuesday, August the 11th. We can expect cloudy skies today with some rain showers and thunderstorms this evening. We'll have a high of about 80 degrees today. We'll have a closer look at the Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection has announced that them, along with the Sherwin-Williams Manufacturing Company, have entered into a consent order and agreement after the DEP found violations of the Air Pollution Control Act at the company's manufacturing plant in Rochester. The DEP's consent order says Sherwin-Williams has 30 days to pay a total of $124,700 in civil penalties. The order also requires resolutions to violations related to that missing thermal oxidizer and other violations including failure to install and operate air cleaning devices, air contaminant source construction and installation without proper plan approval, and missed required startup notifications.
Have you been over there?
I have not.
I had to go over there to pick up some signs, and the smell is just obnoxious. I mean, it's like I couldn't live there. I'd have to move just because the smell is so like stomach turning.
Oh, well,
So-
I know that we had a lot of reports, especially over the last year or so.
Yeah. So well, I'm glad. Hopefully, they finally found got to the bottom of it. So hopefully.
The City of Aliquippa Mayor and Council have announced the appointment of Brent Peacock as the Fire Chief of the Aliquippa Bureau of Fire. Mayor Dwan Walker administered the oath of office to Chief Peacock during the August City Council meeting. Chief Peacock has proudly served the city of Aliquippa for nearly 3 decades. His commitment to the community began back in the 90s when he worked as a paramedic out of the Kennedy Boulevard Fire Station. He later served as a crew chief with Beaver County Emergency Services before joining the city of Aliquippa as a firefighter in 2006. The 2026 NFL Draft delivered $177 million in economic impact and more than $1.5 billion in economic value for the Pittsburgh region. That's according to 2 independent post-event analyses that were released yesterday, cementing the event as one of the most impactful moments in the region's history. Together, the studies demonstrate that the 2026 NFL Draft elevated Pittsburgh's reputation as a premier destination for tourism, conventions, business investment, talent attraction, and future major events. The Pennsylvania Department of Transportation has announced a shoulder restriction on eastbound I-376 in the city of Pittsburgh. That is set to occur on Thursday. A shoulder restriction will happen on 376 between the on-ramp from Route 19 and the Fort Pitt Tunnel from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Thursday, as crews will be conducting landscaping operations. And the American Red Cross is continuing to urge donors of all blood types to act now and make an appointment to give blood or platelets amid the ongoing national blood crisis. They say that just 3 additional donors at every blood drive could help further stabilize the blood supply and ensure patients continue receiving life-saving care. For all who donate in the month of August, they'll receive a $20 Amazon gift card by email. For more information, you can visit redcrossblood.org/August.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Today it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and possible thunderstorms. We'll reach highs near 81 and drop down to lows of 64. And tomorrow, expect a little bit of sunshine, followed by a chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the evening. Look for highs near 82 and lows of 65. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, August the 11th, at 34 minutes past 10, we've got a temperature of 69 degrees with some light rain in Beaver County. That's news. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM and AM 1460 WNBA, as well as streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Well, we're moving on now. We're moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Moving on up to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie.
All right, it's 10:35. Visiting with Brandon Antinopoulos this morning from Ford RX. It's his monthly visit. And discussing that, Brandon, you are going to be moving on up and expanding and get a bigger pharmacy, and it's going to be in Beaver. Tell us a little bit about that again.
Yeah. So
let me turn you on. Hold on. There you go.
Yep. So 998 3rd Street in Beaver, down by the courthouse on the main street of the corner of 3rd Street and Draveau. Is where we're looking to go into. We're working on the space right now. Hopefully sometime mid-September, looking to get in there by as this space, again, it's a beautiful space, the former Premier Bank that went up for auction last year, and joined by Chris and Danny, the ones that were able to acquire that building and going to be my landlords in that space now. And kind of tell them the story, and appreciative of them being here to tell us, because it's kind of I don't know, it just reminds me of like a good story with just a couple of friends just like getting together, and I had a professor and former boss that told me all the time that innovation happens at the speed of trust. And, with our model doing cost plus pricing, very innovative, and it's continued to grow. And while we weren't kind of really specifically looking for, this opportunity, the perfect building came about, and just kind of all the pieces came into play to make this happen, a very trustful process. So I know I'm excited. I think we're all excited for our families. I think that's another cool thing is, is to see all of our children kind of grow up and be involved in this one way or another, is an exciting thing to think about too. But one thing's for sure, I mean, I'm certainly going to miss, being in New Brighton. As Chris and I mentioned, that's a town that we grew up in. My family had the pharmacy there right next door to us. I already know I'm going to.
I don't know if we can be friends no more since you won't be in New Brighton anymore.
I completely understand. I completely understand. We've been letting folks know, we're still going to be accessible. We can still deliver. We can still send things. But I think the response has been pretty positive for the people that we have let know. And thankfully, the Davis family, they still have the Brighton Health Mart pharmacy, to kind of still be able to take care of the town's needs. And that's another wonderful independent that we have in the area too. But I know for certain I'm going to miss being so close to the curb on the main street and waving to people as they're making their jogs and all that kind of stuff, and going back through. I know I'll miss that. I'll still have the window. I'll be able to look through the drive-through window out on the street and wave at people. But certainly, if you have the chance, stop in and say hello.
I love that service that we're getting into fall, getting into winter. It's more convenient. Won't have to get out of the truck, come in to see you. I can just yell at you through the drive-through window.
Absolutely.
When I pick up my prescription.
Absolutely. And everything in there still works. The tube system still works. The intercom still works in there. I'm sure Chris and Danny can attest to that too. I know for my son that he wants that to be his job. He wants to work the tube system. He's like really excited about the tube system.
I want to play with the microphone. That sounds fun. So Chris and Danny, I'll let whichever one you want to take it. So what goes into transforming this into a pharmacy for Brandon?
I'll start. I think the biggest thing is we had to, break our kids' hearts, like Danny was saying, that this wasn't going to be a bank just to play in, and we actually had to gut it and ripped the floor up. We took all the old, teller windows, everything apart. All the electrical is apart. And I said this multiple times while we were doing this, and just said this bank was not meant to be taken apart. It was a very difficult demo without just totally destroying everything. But we were able to get it out, got a good floor down, let Brandon pick the color with, I'm sure some wives, some help, we'll say.
They're the consulting group for sure. Every decision goes by the consulting group.
Yeah, in life. But I'll say, like, even when spending some time down there, especially toward the end of the day when quote rush hour goes through Beaver, I mean, it is a high traffic area, and people, due to the traffic, stop right in front of that corner, and they're going to be staring right at that bank, and or at the pharmacy. So I think it's going to be a tremendous location, and I'm really just excited to see how it takes Brandon to the next level. From a professional standpoint, from a personal standpoint, it's going to be awesome to see. Danny?
Yeah, and if I can interject aside from the actual physical tearing up floors, painting, another thing that went into it when Chris and I first got the keys was it's surrounded by residents, and one by one, each neighbor would anytime Chris and I were there, kind of come talk to us and say, I'm sure they're wondering what's going on in my backyard, what's going on in my neighborhood. And as soon as we told any of them a pharmacy's going in here, they were all very pleased. They were excited for the convenience. They were excited that it wasn't something else, whatever that may mean. I mean, in today's day and age, when you say it's a pharmacy, the next question is, you mean one of those dispensaries? I'm like, no. This is a pharmacy for you to come get your prescriptions. And everybody in the area seemed to be pretty excited. And then I think even the last time we were down there cleaning some stuff up on the exterior, Brandon and his family were there helping, and he got to meet some of the neighbors. And that was really cool to see, because he will be, like we've said over and over again, part of the community and part of that very neighborhood.
No doubt about it. Brandon's kind of a likable guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he really is. And that's the thing. You guys knew him. I didn't. This is just on blind faith. Chris was like, hey, my neighbor that I grew up with wants us to take our money and buy a building potentially. I'm like, who is this guy? But all it took was like meeting him one time, and I'm like, this is a very pure human being. Like, why
you.
not?
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, Danny and Chris, we do appreciate you guys joining us this morning. I know, Danny, you said you had to get running. So anything else that you guys want to throw in there about the pharmacy before we let you go?
Chris?
I echo all that. I'm super excited to be involved more so in the community, and to show, like Danny said, the neighbors around there that this is a legit, operation that's going to just make this town better. And just to be involved, it's just great. Talking to people and just making sure that we're meeting community needs one way or another.
What about you, Danny?
Yeah, and if I can interject anything, sure. Anybody listening, Brandon's going to have, it's a pretty fit area, a walking area, running area. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon. He's going to have protein drinks and energy drinks and all that stuff in the clean version. So
yes,
support Brandon in any way, not just for your prescriptions and your Advil, but stop by, grab your energy drinks, your protein drinks, bottle of water. He's right there, and let's help his family make this thing happen.
Well, as long as he has dumplings there, my daughter will be there all the time, as you know, Brandon.
I got to try these things.
No, stay away.
No, stay away.
Yeah, no, don't let your kids know.
Well, you're the only one that has the triplets too.
Well, we sold the last one this morning, so
there you go.
And my wholesaler's got none in stock. So as long as my wholesaler gets it, I'll try to get them for sure.
See, that's how popular they are. My 8-year-old saw them, and she said, "Oh, can we stop and visit Brandon?" And she didn't tell me why. And then I looked and I said, "Oh, now I know why you want to go." Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys joining us. Good luck. Looking forward to great things coming in downtown Beaver with a brand new Ford RX.
Sure. Thanks, Frank. Nice talking to you.
Same here.
Later, Brandon.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Yeah. So exciting news. You got to be excited.
Yes.
Looking forward to getting going there. So sometime in September, possibly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got the permit work starting already on it. Cabinets are going to get installed likely next week. We still have some final inspections and things like that, and then we'll pick the weekend in which we'll literally pack everything up, and we'll close on the Saturday, whatever weekend that's going to be, in New Brighton, pack everything up, move it all over on Sunday, and be ready to go on the following Monday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so like I said, some final inspections that'll have to go, but not too much that kind of needs done layout wise. Just because that space is already going to be there, and but once we know when that exact date will be, we'll start to let the community know, let all of our patients know when they can expect that to be and what's going to happen, and give us a couple weeks of being in that new space, get the kinks out, especially me running a drive-through.
Oh, I can't wait to come mess with you in a drive-through. I might just drive by and just say hi. Hey, what's going on, Brandon?
You know what? I've never done this, but I've heard from other pharmacists, and they would mess around, especially like some of the old Rite Aid pharmacists that would play jokes and pranks on one another.
Yeah.
They would take Subway meatball sandwiches.
Oh, okay.
And they would please don't do this to our drive-through shoots, because that's all
kind of like Happy Gilmore type stuff, huh?
Yeah. But no, and thankfully with independent pharmacy, even I've always said, even though we're competing businesses, we all want to see each other succeed. And so, I think that's the one thing we want to make sure to do is just kind of be another resource for the community. Again, see the other independents in the area, continue to take care of folks, and ultimately, where we're making this move now, hopefully there's an opportunity where we can grow in locations down the road, or at least inspire other pharmacist entrepreneurs to open up their own in other areas that have lost pharmacies too.
Gotcha. All right. Visiting this morning with Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX in New Brighton, soon to be in Beaver. And we're going to take a short break. If you do want to call and talk to Brandon, you can. If you have any questions, it's 724-843-1888 or 774-1888. We'll be right back after this.
If you're not sure what play to call next, and it's 4th and long, maybe it's time to huddle up. This is Andy Dengel from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. I'll join you in the huddle and help you make a winning decision. No, not because I'm that smart, though I am. This is an easy call. When life sacks you and time is running out, the easiest call to make is the one to Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Loan programs of all types for many different purposes can get you across the goal line. Stop in and ask how we can help put you in the scoring position. Loan approvals are based on credit approval, and some restrictions may apply. Now, let's break this huddle and head up to the line of scrimmage so we can set these plans in motion and put a little freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
We are talking with Art Cornell from Beaver Cemetery. Art, I read a story recently about a local cemetery that had run out of funds and was struggling to pay for its upkeep. How did this happen?
Some cemeteries eventually become full and can no longer sell property and generate income. How will these cemeteries pay for their continued care? The cemetery may or may not have a fund for this purpose. In the story you mentioned, that cemetery is no longer selling property and its care fund is almost depleted. Now they're struggling to pay for the upkeep.
How can families be assured that their gravesites are protected now and in the future?
Beaver Cemetery exists to serve the public rather than make a profit. Our multi-million-dollar perpetual care fund is managed by a fiduciary to ensure that the care of the cemetery will be as it is today for hundreds of years.
Folks, you can learn more at beavercemetery.net.
Hold on tight, Butler County. The action is back. The North Washington Rodeo rides in August 18th through the 22nd. Outstanding champions battle it out for huge prize money in one of the biggest rodeos east of the Mississippi. Experience heart-pounding bull riding, barrel racing, bronc busting, and family fun, all at the famous North Washington Rodeo grounds on Route 38 north of Butler. Get your tickets early and save. August 18th through the 22nd. Don't miss the North Washington Rodeo.
Back by popular demand, The Time Machine with Frank Sparks. Every Friday from 10 a.m. to noon, we'll strap into our 1968 VW Bus Time Machine and head back in time to a year that is picked out by a listener.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time?
We'll talk about all of the trends and listen to songs from the Hot 100 of that year. So mark your calendar to tune in each and every Friday here on Beaver County Radio. Hot coffee in the morning and Frank Sparks. Now you're in the Fast Lane. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and streaming live on beavercountyradio.com.
Moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Moving on up to the
It's 10:50 in Beaver County. Brandon Antinopoulos is our guest in hour number 1 today. And he's going to be moving on up to downtown Beaver. And, I was thinking as Chris was talking, he was talking about how hard it was to get, move stuff and get the floor and stuff. I just wanted to say, duh, it's a bank. Just to be a smart aleck. But I mean, at least people knew their money was secure if you couldn't even, had a hard time getting the floors and stuff out. You know?
Oh, yeah. No, and even when we first got in there, I'm a thrifty person.
Okay.
So looking at it and trying to figure, what could be salvaged if we cut this part off and cover this, and then, looking at the, what was gonna all be involved with the move and stuff, anyways.
Right.
Thankfully, and again, the wife consulting group, I think would agree. We made the decision of let's just start fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And really make it the way that we all kind of want to make it and be proud of too. So, but even we're kind of do it ourselfers and certain things, and even for the demo and that kind of stuff. And again, that's just, I think also why it's just been a good process to do with a couple of friends.
So you talked about some of the services you'll be adding and different things you'll be able to do.
Yep.
What about I guess shelf things? Like the other day I come in, my doctor recommended magnesium for me. So you had that. Will we be able to expand room for you to be able to do things like that too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And for anyone who's not been into our pharmacy currently, our front end retail space is 100 square feet. And that's it. And it's kind of been hand picked by my own, I call it my over the counter formulary, the stuff that I know that actually works or would recommend. But clearly there's some times where people will be coming in looking for something and, I won't have it on hand. Yes, I could order it in for the next day, but, understand that, there's not that convenience there for having it just on the shelf. But we're going to have, I would say, probably 4 times the shelf space of what we have now, to be able to have vitamins like that and stuff that we recommend, but several different lines of vitamins, as well as more over-the-counter products for folks and categories. We really don't have that much first aid. We really don't have that much dermatology in our stuff. Our kind of thing is mainly cough, cold, pain relief, and things that you would think of if you're just driving by a pharmacy and you come in and you ask the pharmacist, hey, I got this tickle in the back of my throat. What do you recommend for this? Or I got this cramp going on and in my body. What do you recommend for this? Just limited to the stuff that I would pull right off the shelf to be able to recommend. So the fact that now I'm going to have more of a larger, call it my over-the-counter formulary, for when people come in or they ask questions or they need something to be able to pull from is going to be fulfilling as a pharmacist.
You getting a new mural put up?
We are. So that's the other thing I'm going to miss. Trying to figure out how I can get how they get the existing one and transport it. But thankfully, Aaron Kelly, who did the one for us, Lorna Kelly, whose mom owns the Blue Marble in New Brighton. She did such an amazing job with our mural. And when she heard we were moving, she was excited. And before I even asked, she was like, "If you need me to paint another one, I'll paint another one." So we got some plans in place for that too.
Can't wait to see it. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, last couple minutes we have. We were discussing a little bit off the air. Yesterday I was talking about, and it was Charlie. You know Charlie.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So Charlie sent this to me via email about these mRNA vaccinations. So What's your thoughts about the whole thing?
Yeah, so the mRNA vaccines are the type of technology that, and you covered it very well, that the COVID vaccines, most of them started. And this was a new technology that was used for COVID. It's been around for a few decades, but actually put into use didn't happen until the COVID pandemic. And I think from that now, companies looking at, okay, what other vaccines that we can make using this technique or this technology. Mm-hmm. And you covered it very well what the reason was, especially with the flu vaccines. It's a very old process that the flu immunizations are used and produced. It's 6 months. It's chicken egg based to like incubate these and extract them. So if the CDC or the powers that be get it wrong on what the strain is that's going to be the most prevalent to protect against, well, too late. We already made these for this strain. We found out that they're not effective, or they're really effective against the strains they were made for, but we're not seeing that strain show up in disease and prevalence. You don't get an opportunity to fix your batch or refocus, for the strain.
Well, in the mRNA, it actually basically cuts the incubation time in half, correct?
Within 2 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So within 2 months, experts can say, hey, this is the strain we're seeing. We now need to reformulate the vaccine and protect against this strain. So the fact that now you have, at least when the context of flu season, which happens annually, the ability to reformulate something mid-season to be effective.
Okay.
It's a technology worth exploring and continue to develop. Even though the FDA approved it, it's still only approved for ages 50 to 64.
Mm-hmm.
And it got, I believe, I'm trying to think of the correct approval. It's not an emergency approval. It's an accelerated approval for 65 and older. So what that means is didn't get full FDA approval for that age group, because I think they're waiting to see how effective it is compared to the current high dose vaccines for people that age group. As we get older, our immune systems weaken. So the flu shot available to the 65 and older has a little bit more oomph to it to create a greater immune response for better protection for that group.
Kind of what's concerning, though, is the FDA originally didn't even want to look at this, and now all of a sudden they're like, okay, and then it was on 40,000 people. So, I mean, is that enough of a baseline with 40,000 people for that, do you think?
So I think what's enough to get approval for these type of things, I think is certainly a worthwhile concern. And as I tell everyone else, and I kind of agreed with it too, unfortunately, trust in institutions, FDA, CDC, and it doesn't matter which administration is in control.
Yeah.
And everyone can point the finger whoever they want to, but a lot of trust is lost.
I think with them pushing through the COVID shot and so many reactions to the COVID shot, that's why people are skeptical, because that was an mRNA, and now they're skeptical with this because it is, and they're like, okay, so they rushed this through, and the side effects, what's going to happen here?
Yeah, a lot of skepticism for sure, and I think warranted too. But at least when it comes to this one, even though it's FDA approved, you're likely not going to see it actually come out into pharmacies yet until the CDC's vaccine kind of advisory group. They still have to meet and actually decide if they're going to put that on the recommended vaccine to get for that approved population. So even though it's FDA approved, yes, it could go out to pharmacies. Unless this vaccine advisory group puts it in their recommendations, you're probably not going to see a lot of pharmacies stock it and offer it, because a lot of insurance coverage is dependent on the vaccines that are on this recommendation list.
Gotcha.
And so, and I don't believe this advisory group is scheduled to meet anytime soon. So it's possible, even though this vaccine's approved and out there, again, I don't anticipate that you're going to see it even be available until the advisory group kind of gets together, discusses it, and whether or not they're going to recommend it. So even if not, you know, the ones that we do have, the high dose vaccines, and again, especially for that age population, at least it's the mRNA, it's only being approved for 50 and older, and again, 50 to 64, or there's the accelerated approval for 65 and older.
Gotcha.
All the other vaccines that we've had previously are still going to be available. So, no, I mean, it's a, like I said, it's unfortunate. And I thought you did a good job covering this, but any more, it's kind of like immunization discussions. It's almost like depending on what team you're on,
right? Yeah, I gotcha.
Determines of it or not. And so, and again, my thought as always is, you know, someone as a pharmacist and even in this field,
right,
you know, my job is to lay it on the line with everything to say, here's the risks, here's the benefits. In your specific situation, does the benefit of any intervention outweigh the risks? And what other questions do you have to help you come to that decision?
That's kind of what I was trying to do yesterday, even though personally I'm against it because of all the reactions I've had. But that's why I was trying to lay it on the line and say, hey, this is, you know, a neutral look at it, and it's up to you to decide.
Yeah. And in the past, we've relied on, you know, the institutions and the recommendations.
Right.
You know, I still think there's trust and validity there, but at the same time, it would be a disservice if we didn't acknowledge hesitancy in the reasons why that there is.
Right.
And I think still the finger pointing and like you should do this or you shouldn't do this is not helpful. And the best thing we could do is just give people correct information. And hope that people seek out correct information to make the best decision for themselves.
Right, and it doesn't help any that the former leader of all that is, you know, on the stand right now and, you know, not wanting to talk, even though that's his right. So, I mean, that kind of adds more skepticism to,
correct,
especially people that lean to the right. They're like, well, you know, this and that. But in the end, you just have to decide whether it's good for you or not good for you.
Yep. Yeah. So if you have any questions, give me a call.
All right.
We currently we don't offer immunizations at the moment just because, you know, we're out of network with insurance. Usually with vaccines, you know, you're going to get good coverage or insurance to get it at a place that is contracted. But you can still ask me questions. So if there's anyone with a complete unbiased opinion, one way or the other, you know, give us a call and happy to.
What's that number?
Talk to you about it. So our number is 724-246-6257, or you could check us out online at fwdrx.com.
All right, buddy. We went about 3 minutes over time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
You can add it.
No, to me, it's good. It's good. That's good radio. Maybe we can get you in here as it develops more and talk more about it as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
So you'll probably have a date next month when you'll be ready, probably.
I have a feeling whenever I come back next month, we'll know the date and we'll be able to let people know for sure what the next step is of the plans and a for sure date.
All right, awesome. So, Brandon, as always, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to jump in the middle of news here, and then we'll have Steve Higgins from Larry Bruno Foundation is going to come in and talk about this year's Circle of Achievement and who the inductees are here on Beaver County Radio.
You're listening to FM, presented